Hallo YouTube! Wir haben jetzt hier einen Star Trek Fanfilm von Potemkin 1711. Alles zusammengeschrieben. Und die machen immer gute Star Trek Fanfilme und ich habe mir auch mehrere Crews unterwegs in ihren Fanfilmen. Und ich habe auch mal wieder einen langen mit 25 Minuten. Wir wissen, bei denen sind wahrscheinlich so 3 bis 4 Minuten Vorspann und Abspann. Gucken wir trotzdem mal. Also so 20 Minuten werden wir wahrscheinlich schön bespaßt werden. Ja, und da ist er auch schon. Stellen wir mal eben ein HD. Haben wir schon. Dann machen wir das mal groß hier. Das volle Bild genießen. Und los geht's.
Energize. Welcome home, Captain.
Thanks, Bill. I swear, every stinking time I get shore leave. So what's this all about? And why did you...
Sorry, Captain. Palmer, that will be all. As to your first point, Commodore Walker will explain that to you personally, now that you're back on board. Of course, we tried contacting you, but apparently your communicator was lost or damaged.
Oh! Yeah. Get that fixed for me, will you? And let Commodore Walker know I'm back on board and I'll be ready in 15. I have got to get a shower.
Aye, sir.
Okay,
Go ahead.
Captain, I have Commodore Walker for you. Seems urgent.
On screen, Lieutenant. Captain Harper here, as required, Commodore.
Sorry, Tim. Duty
Oh, ein
calls.
bisschen Greenscreen noch drin zu
Goes
sehen.
with the territory, sir. What's up?
There's a present situation on the space lab, Ravana 3. Heard of it?
Pavona 3. I don't think so. Should I have?
Not really. But now I wish I hadn't. Here's what you need to know. 1. It's an orbital space lab. They have lost all life support. So we have to get replacement equipment out there. 2. Admiral Alwan's daughter and grandson are there. So you know what that means. Lastly, 3. You'll have to skirt restricted space to get there as quickly as possible.
Restricted how?
The Starship Endeavour had a run-in with an early warp civilization known as the Odobinos. They were nearly 20 years ago. No one got hurt, but they made it very clear to Captain Houston they don't trust anyone. They want to be left alone. There is a treaty with all the details that I am attaching to this communication string.
No word since?
Not officially. We hear that they're growing more concerned about the Klingons than the Federation, so there might be an opening. Look, we don't think they'll be much of a military ally, but we hear they might have the lithium to trade. So get the equipment delivered quickly. But don't create an incident that will close the door on future cooperation. Got it?
Yes, sir. When will the equipment be loaded?
Already done. While you were planetside, Tristan already met up with Demos and transferred the equipment, along with some redundant units. That should get them set for at least a decade. Lieutenant Commander Zakara has all the details. As you know, I hate to waste time.
Understood. We'll be en route as soon as I confirm all personnel will return to ship.
Thanks, Tim. I knew that I could count on you. We will crack that bottle of vintage Kentucky bourbon that you gave me when you get back. That's the least I can do.
Sounds simple enough. Which means it won't be.
Die Leiden eines Captains.
Lieutenant Taylor, set course for Space Lab Pavona 3, and be sure to keep us well outside the Odo Bino's restricted zone. Miss Tannis, warp factor 8.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We're not showing the boundaries of any zone, Captain.
You'll need to secure the Odo Bino's Accord from Mr. Warren and update the ship's star catalog to show the new exclusion zone.
Aye, sir. Done. Plotting course of 132 Mark 568. We'll stay clear and reach the science station without undue delay.
Sounds good. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll be Commander Sakara.
Captain, Lieutenant Moore and I have inspected the life support equipment for the science station, and it's not in good shape.
It's nowhere near ready to actually install.
All of that was supposed to be brand new. Did somebody pull a switch?
No, sir. Technically, it is still mint in box, but apparently it has been in storage for over 4 decades. I'm concerned that it may not even be compatible with the station's power supply and EPS conduit systems.
We can make it work, but we need to pull it apart and overhaul it before we arrive so we can install it right away.
Good catch. Have your people work on it around the clock. I want that equipment updated and ready to go by the moment we arrive.
Yes, sir. My thoughts exactly.
All off-duty engineering team members have been volunteered, and they are working on it as we speak.
Have been volunteered.
I believe I made myself clear, Captain. I even put your command trainee on supervising the engineers and technicians.
Indeed. Carry on.
Captain, Mr. Shepard Calhoun and I have been reading the treaty agreement with Odo Binos.
It is, well, let's say a little unusual.
How so?
Well, for example, if we ever come face to face with them in any sort of confrontation, raising shields or charging weapons is considered an act of war.
Based on their technology assessment from 20 years ago, it shouldn't be a problem. But still.
That is unusual. We probably won't see them anyway, but just to play it safe, I want a full sensor scan into the restricted area to make sure we aren't surprised.
And that's another thing. Active sensor sweeps are prohibited too. Although, as I read it, as not exactly an act of war. But I think that Odo Binos could consider it an act of war if they were so inclined.
You are ever the optimist, Commander.
Someone has to be.
Okay, well, then let's use sensors in passive mode to see what we can see without stirring the pot. Mr. Warren,
Lol.
monitor all subspace communications from the system as well.
Aye, sir. I haven't heard anything on standard channels, but I'll.
Captain, collision alert. Dead ahead. Impact imminent.
Security, damage report. Tactical, what was that?
I can't be positive, but I think we struck some sort of gravitic space mine. Without active sensors, there's not much to go on. By the time passive sensors picked it up, it had already fired its rockets to intercept and collide with us.
Hell, full stop. Communications, Hell Starbase 211.
All decks reporting damage, Captain. Casualties are alive.
We're stopped. We're dead in the water. Neither helm nor engines are responding.
I withdraw permission, Captain. I'd like to try and go down to auxiliary control and see what I can do from there.
Very well. Mr. Warren, did you get that message out?
Yes, sir. No reply was a given.
Sick bay to bridge.
Harper here.
Captain, we have quite a few injuries coming in. Mostly banged up from the sudden stop. No reports of any fatalities yet, for which we're all grateful. Most of our equipment is down. The power keeps going on and off.
Thanks, Doc. Commander Zakar and Lieutenant Moore are working on it. Keep us posted. Bridge out. Continue.
Looks like we hit something rather substantial. The collision took out EPS conduits 1 and 2 entirely.
Are you okay?
Yes. I just hit my face on the console.
Structural integrity on deck 6 is highly suspect. We're seeing a drop in atmosphere there, so we're venting somewhere.
Bridge is Security Chief Shepard.
Shepard here, Captain.
I need you and your teams to see that Deck 6 is evacuated.
Already on it, sir.
Kane, if it becomes necessary,
I
seal it off.
understand, sir. I'll let you know what we find out. Shepard out.
Continue.
The main reactor shut down when all that power had nowhere to go. Warp and impulse engines are offline as well.
We're working to reset EPS relays in Conduit 3 so we can route emergency power and get life support back online.
Any estimates when or if life support will be back online?
Life support should be back in the next few minutes, assuming there is no further damage and the EPS relays reset properly.
I've also got a team working on getting ready to restart the main fusion reactor. Once we get that going, we will be a bit more stable.
What about Deck 6?
Teams are on the way there with portable force fields to reinforce it and seal off any leaks.
We're being held on screen, Lieutenant. I'd like to see who I'm dealing with eye to eye.
Unidentified spacecraft. This is Captain Rosmar of the Odobinos Diarchy. You have violated the exclusion zone. You must leave immediately or we will be forced to take action.
Captain, we most certainly did not violate the exclusion zone. We took every precaution to stay well clear. We are on a
You
vital
most certainly
mission.
did violate the exclusion zone. The Odobinos Accords require all alien vessels to stay at least 1 parsec away from our home world.
What the
You
fuck?
are now 0.998 parsecs away.
That is not how the exclusion zone is defined. It is a 2-parsec sphere around Eta Pavonis.
Correct, Captain. That is how it's defined in Section 23 of the Accords.
Okay, then I don't see the issue with our presence here.
Section 24 adds the restriction on approaching our Oort cloud.
Captain, he might have a point. Their Oort cloud has slowly drifted toward a passing rogue star. In 20 years, it has moved 8.6 million kilometers, which means we have violated their zone of exclusion.
Captain, some power systems are back on, but much of our life support equipment was damaged by the power surge.
We've got survey teams down there now. It doesn't look good.
Captain, how dare you ignore me? Get that ship of yours out of here now!
Close channel. Zakara, how long do we have?
A couple of hours at the most. The main reactor is warming up nicely. Maybe half an hour?
Not that it matters if we can't breathe.
Any chance you could use the equipment we have on board for Pavona 3?
Possibly. That's an idea. I'll get some folks on hooking up the new stuff. It's not readily compatible to our systems, but I'm most concerned about the rising CO2 levels. I'll put Solari on it.
Captain, when power came back, I was able to sneak in 1 sensor suite. They have a large cruiser with 4 small attack craft. 2 of them are on an intercept course. They're way too small and fragile to do much damage. It makes no sense.
Mr. Calhoun, status of shields and phasers.
They show online, but only at 50% power.
Captain, using either would likely overload the single remaining EPS, and it will get really cold and really quick.
I like it cold.
Sir, I've routed the helm through auxiliary control.
Good work, Tanis.
Captain, I've been reviewing what little we know about Odobinos, but I think they're trying to engage us in the old Terran game of playing chicken, hoping to intimidate us into raising shields or charging phasers, an act of war in their view. Then we'd really be...
Got it. Time to impact.
First 2 are veering off now. Wait. The other 2 attack ships are inbound now. ETA 20 seconds.
Zakara, I need those impulse engines. Tanis, ideas.
Firing maneuvering thrusters, sir.
Good thinking. Dakara?
Sorry, Captain. When I say 25 minutes...
Damn it! This ship needs to move!
The other two attack craft are very, very close.
Captain, they veered off, and at the last second.
I have an idea. Do you think you can get that big bad cruiser to do the same stunt as the little ones?
What? Oh. Wait. I get it. Lieutenant, open channel.
Channel is open.
You dare to cut me off? I ought to.
What's the meaning of sending those puny escape pods to buzz us? Are those tiny little tin birds supposed to scare us?
I'm warning you, if you don't leave in the next 5 minutes, we will board your ship and take you back to the homeworld for trial and execution. And not just you, but you and your entire crew.
We will leave just as soon as we can, but you shouldn't be making threats you can't back up. Even that trash heap you're in command of is nothing more than a garbage scow in the Federation.
Captain, he's cut the channel.
Ah, hell. Big Boy is headed for us now, along with the first 2 scouts. I hope he is planning to veer off.
Dakara, route all the power you can spare to the tractor beam.
Aye, Captain. I'm ready. I can give you about 62%.
Captain, the tractor beam can either push or pull on the alien craft, but we won't be able to hold our position. Remember Newtonian physics.
Thanks to Commander Zakara, that is exactly what they're planning. It's going to be more than a little tricky. In case Captain Rosemar has completely lost his mind, which I'm sure he has, we're going to use just enough tractor beam to push us apart to make sure we don't collide.
Here he comes.
And he looks pissed off.
Andre, set tractor beam to 20%, and on my mark, give him just a little push. And now.
Engaging tractor beam.
Beam has made contact. Our relative position is changing.
Moving, Captain.
Andre, now lock full power to the tractor beam and pull him hard as he passes. Ready? Now.
It's working, Captain. We're accelerating.
Okay, everybody, hang on. Andre, as he turns back to his side, I want you to cut the tractor beam.
Aye, sir.
Janice, keep those beam emitters facing the big boy.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Captain, 2 of the scout ships appear to have collided. One seems operational, but the other is damaged and is venting atmosphere.
Bridge to transporter room 1.
Palmer here.
Chief, I want you to lock on and beam any life forms from the damaged scout ship on board.
You got it, Captain.
Bridge to sick bay.
Sick bay here.
Dr. Patrick, I want you and the medical team to get to transporter room 1 and meet any guests and check for injuries.
Got her, sir. Other than a bit shocked, she seems okay. Medical is here now.
You'll be fine, ma'am. Just take it easy.
Great work, everyone. I want that pilot on the bridge as soon as they're able. Mr. Taylor, what's our status relative to Federation space?
I estimate we'll be out of their space in about 3 hours.
Good news, Captain. We found a bunch of lithium hydroxide and the other stuff headed for the science colony. Solari added it to our air filters to absorb some of the carbon dioxide. Says it's a trick from an old Earth Apollo moon mission.
Lieutenant Solari has also gotten the science station life support equipment working at 18%. Enough to keep us alive for a few days while we make repairs.
Best news I've had today. But I thought their equipment wasn't compatible with our power system.
Oh, they're not. But they are compatible with the shuttlecraft. So we wired them together temporarily.
Captain, Starfleet has acknowledged our distress call. The starship Caliborn will arrive in about 14 minutes. to render assistance if need be.
Not necessary, but it'll be nice to have a backup just in case.
Captain, Rosemar is back on the channel.
On screen, Lieutenant.
Captain, what have you done? My cruiser felt like it hit a small asteroid, and you destroyed one of my scout ships. My daughter is dead.
You insisted we move, so we did what we deemed necessary to do so. On the bright side, we were able to beam your daughter over just before her scout ship imploded after colliding with your other scout ship.
You have my daughter? See, I knew you were no better than the Klingons. I suppose you're going to hold her hostage until...
Captain, we rescued your daughter, and she seems fine. As soon as our ship's doctor checks her out, she will join us here on the bridge.
So you can put a weapon to her head and make your demands like the Klingons.
Hardly. Starfleet and the Federation do not take hostages. No demands.
Macht ja auch keinen
You
Sinn.
may send a scout shuttle over at your convenience, or we can beam her over as
Ich
soon
muss
as
mal gucken, ob ich Sim seine Jacke irgendwo herkriege, aber ich glaube, das ist eine Eigenanfertigung. Ich finde die geil.
You're lucky there was a Federation ship with your mind hit. Anyone else, then your entire planet would be at war now.
Yes, I told Father we didn't need the mines this far out. Only sensors, but he's very stubborn.
I understand. The Federation has a few leaders with strong wills and narrow minds.
Is your captain one of them?
No. He's different. He strongly believes in diplomacy and peace whenever possible. I think you'll like him.
Well, he could have let me die, but he didn't.
Exactly.
How about thank you? Perhaps in hostilities against this vessel?
Morris, are you unharmed?
Completely, Father. You should see this ship. It's so miraculous. And the people on board, they're so different from us, even from each other. Kind, Father. They're so kind.
We appear to have misjudged you, Captain.
Look, I know we failed to properly identify the new coordinates of the restricted zone. Our mistake. Man hope. But dropping gravitic mines in this airspace is totally irresponsible and completely unacceptable. You could have started a war with not just the Klingons, but the Orions, the Gorn, the Rhymons, the Tholians, hell, even Zent. Is that something your homeworld can afford to do?
Perhaps, after I file my report, our diplomats might have more to discuss than has been previously considered. We just wanted to be
Schimmert
left
noch ein bisschen
alone.
was durch hier.
That may have been a lack of foresight on our part. Thank you, Captain. I'd like to take my daughter home.
Mr. Calhoun, you have the con.
Aye, Captain.
Personal log supplemental. It has been 13 hours since our engagement with the Otobinos. Thankfully, no one was seriously injured, and the damage to Deck 6 was far less serious than we first thought. After making repairs with materiel and assistance from the engineering crew of the Caliborn, we are resuming our course for Space Lab, Pavona 3. Hopefully, the Otobinos people will see us in a new light and begin a new friendship. Perhaps it's time for their isolationism to end.
Seht ihr, das ist Star Trek. Und das verstehen einige nicht. Wenn Fans das abbilden können in ihren Fanfilmen, warum können dann manche nicht akzeptieren, dass manches, was von Paramount, CBS und Co. kommt, oder auch Star Trek ist, weil es genau dasselbe abbildet. Und ich spiele jetzt gerade extra auf Starfleet Academy drauf ein, weil ich muss das hier mal ganz dringend sagen. das, was da uns aufgezeigt wurde, entspricht unserer heutigen Zeit. Es zeigte auf, wie verschieden Wesen sein können. Und das wurde nicht gewertschätzt. Viele wollen zurück zu den alten Werten. Was waren denn die alten Werte? Hass, Unterdrückung, Sklaverei? Ich glaube nicht, dass das erstrebenswert wäre. Aber darum geht es jetzt nicht. Das hier war ein Fanfilm und den bewerten wir jetzt. Die Story war absolut Star Trek, muss ich sagen. Und Captain musste sich aus einer Lage rausmanövrieren, in die er sich im Prinzip selber reingebracht hat, weil seine Crew und der Computer nicht mitgerechnet haben. Was okay war. Er durfte keine Waffen benutzen, weil das wäre in einem Krieg ausgeartet. Er durfte keine Schilde zünden, wäre in einem Krieg ausgeartet. Was macht man da? Man quatscht sich aus der Nummer raus und nutzt die Dinge, die man hat. Wenn man nicht viel hat, kann man nicht viel nutzen. Ist eine ganz einfache Sache. Er hat es trotzdem geschafft. Und allein der Einfallsreichtum hierbei, der Story, finde ich wahnsinnig cool. Also 8.5 Rates clear. Also das ist schon allein deswegen. Jetzt muss ich sagen, dadurch, dass das Peak Star Trek war, waren wir den 9 da raus. 9.0. 9.0. Nur ganz wenige haben es bisher hier erreicht und hauptsächlich im Star Trek-Bereich. Und ich finde auch gut, dass Star Trek immer noch Fanfilme hat, auch wenn der jetzt hier schon ein paar Tage älter war, wo keine KI zum Einsatz kommt, großflächig, dass alles aus KI ist. Deswegen, also, ihr werdet hier auf dem Kanal wohl sehr lange Zeit keine Star Wars Fanfilme mehr sehen, weil es da stumpferweise keine neuen mehr gibt. Jetzt werden einige sagen, hey, Moment, aber es gibt doch neue Star Wars Fanfilme. Ja, die gibt es. Aber 99,9% davon sind KI generiert. Und zwar komplett. Und das sind keine Fanfilme. Das ist der Untergang des Fanfilms. Und wenn wir Pech haben, sogar der Untergang des normalen Films. Und das ist, ja, nicht schön. Ich habe ein Video in der Playlist drin, oder was heißt, in meiner persönlichen Playlist, was ich mir noch anschauen will. Da geht es um KI und Hollywood. Ich glaube, ich gucke mir das mal an und nehme es gleichzeitig auf, so als kleine Reaction. Mal schauen, ob ich das mache. So, und jetzt wünsche ich euch allen einen wunderbaren Tag, Nacht, Abends, was auch immer. Oder morgen. 9,0. Und persönliche Meinung, wie gesagt, steht da oben, Dauermeinungssendung. Von daher, möge die Macht mit euch sein, oder aber lebt lang und in Frieden. Bis dann.